If you love real emotional stories, hit subscribe, we post one every day. Get out, Michael. You're a failure. My mother's voice ripped through the quiet like shattered glass. I froze over my drafting table, pencil trembling in my hand. Then I heard it, the sound of a suitcase hitting the floor. I rushed to the stairs and saw him, my dad, gray-faced and tired, standing by the door. "I'm sorry, Lily," he whispered, pulling me into a hug that felt like goodbye. "I can't stay here anymore." The door slammed behind him, and silence filled the house, thick enough to choke on. My little sister Emma clung to my arm, whispering, "Is Dad coming back?" I didn't have the heart to answer. Let me tell you about our family. My grandmother, Evelyn Carter, was a legend, a self-made woman who turned a rundown roadside inn into a $50 million chain of boutique hotels across New England. She built an empire from grit and charm. My mom, Rebecca, was the marketing director, more interested in spotlight than spreadsheets. My dad, Michael, was the operations genius who kept everything running, until he wasn't part of it anymore. 3 months after he left, Mom announced she was remarrying. His name was Jason, smooth-talking, expensive suits, perfect smile. An optimization consultant, whatever that meant. He moved in fast, and so did his promises about taking the brand global. He treated Emma like a princess, but to me, I was just clutter in his perfect picture. One evening, Mom called me into the living room, all smiles. "Big news," she said. "Jason and I are moving to Europe for our new expansion." My stomach sank. "What about me? What about Emma?" I asked. She waved her hand like brushing off dust. "Emma's coming with us. You'll stay here, with Grandma. It's better for everyone." I stared at her, numb. "You're just leaving me." She smiled, cold and final. "Don't be dramatic, Lily. You'll be fine." That night, as I packed away the few things that were mine, I realized I wasn't being left behind. I was being erased. My mother couldn't stand that Grandma and I shared something real, a love for design, for the business she never truly cared about. For quiet years passed. Living with Grandma Evelyn was like breathing fresh air after years underwater. I threw myself into architecture school, spending late nights with blueprints instead of memories. Mom's messages came only on holidays, short, polite, empty. Then came my 21st birthday. Grandma called me into her office, the heart of the original hotel. The smell of old wood and coffee filled the air. She looked at me with that steady gaze that always saw more than I said. "Lily," she began, sliding a leather folder across the desk. "You've proven yourself. You see this business like I do, not as profit, but as purpose. You have your father's heart." I opened the folder. Inside were legal papers, deeds, shares, trusts. My breath caught. "Grandma, what is this?" "It's the company," she said softly. "It's all yours now." I stared at her, speechless. "But Mom and Jason. They run a project," she interrupted. "You own the legacy." And in that moment, I realized, the woman who built an empire had just chosen her true successor. Sharp as glass, Grandma Evelyn said, her tone firm but kind. "That expansion project, I never fully approved it. But the heart, Lily, the hotels, the brand, the soul of everything I built, that's yours now. It always was." I could barely breathe. "But, why? Why now? Why me?" She leaned back in her chair, eyes heavy with years of choices and regret. "You're asking why I waited," she said quietly. "Because I kept hoping Rebecca would grow up. I wanted to believe my daughter would find her way. I gave her more chances than I should have. I watched her drive your father away. And then I watched her discard you, like you were a burden. She paused, the silence thick. I was torn between a mother's hope and the truth staring me in the face. But when she and Jason came to me with their reckless plan to mortgage the core hotels, to risk everything I built, I knew hope was useless. This isn't a gift, Lily. It's a correction. I won't let them destroy our family's legacy. That night, she gave me one more piece of advice. Call your father. Not just as your dad, as a consultant. He knows these hotels better than anyone. And there's more you don't know. It took me a week to gather the courage. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. When I saw him, my heart clenched. He looked older, thinner, more tired. But when he smiled, that same warmth came back, like sunlight after rain. We talked about school, the weather, anything but the past. Then it all spilled out, everything from the night Mom left to Grandma's decision. He listened in silence, his hands wrapped around his coffee cup. When I finally stopped, he exhaled, voice rough. Lily, there's something you need to know about the divorce. My pulse quickened. Your mother told you I left because of an affair, didn't she? I nodded. His jaw tightened. The affair wasn't mine. It was hers. She was with Jason long before I ever left. I stared at him, stunned. Mom? He nodded. I had suspicions, but I didn't want to believe it. Then things started going wrong, at work. That's the part no one knows. I wasn't just pushed out of the house, Lily. I was forced out of the company. What do you mean? I asked, barely whispering. They framed me, he said quietly. Rebecca and Jason. They fabricated a financial issue, small enough to seem real, large enough to ruin me. They brought it to the board. Your grandmother's board. I was fired. Disgraced. My throat tightened. Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you tell Grandma? His eyes softened with the same pain I remembered from that night he left. Because of you and Emma, he said. She threatened to drag everything into the media, the affair, the lies, all of it. She said she'd use you two as leverage, paint me as an unstable thief. I couldn't do that to you. So I walked away. I sat there in silence, tears burning my eyes. My entire life had been built on a lie, my mother, the victim, my father, the failure. But the truth was the opposite. He hadn't abandoned us. He'd sacrificed everything to protect us. 2 days later, the news spread faster than I could blink. I was the new owner of Carter Hotels. That afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and froze. My mother stood there, flawless as ever, with Jason right beside her. Lily, sweetheart, she cried, sweeping me into a hug that felt more like a chokehold. She smelled like money and manipulation. Oh, darling, I've missed you so much. Look at you. Before I could react, she was already stepping past me into the house, like she'd never been gone at all. Jason followed right behind her, his grin smooth and practiced. Your mother's been beside herself, Lily. We heard the exciting news. Rebecca spun toward me, eyes wide, sparkling with that frightening, fake cheer. I'm so surprised Grandma put all this on your shoulders. It's such a huge responsibility. That's why we came straight back. Baby, we have the perfect solution. You'll come live with us. We'll run the company together, a real family business, just like it was supposed to be. I pulled my hands away. No, Mom. I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy here. I have my school. I have Grandma. Her smile didn't falter, but it tightened sharply at the edges. Fine. If you won't move, that's okay. Jason and I will just relocate back here. Sell the city place. Everything will be like old times. Won't that be lovely? I stared at her. The woman who had thrown me aside like trash now tried to push her way into Grandma's home. "No," I said quietly, but my voice cut through the room. "It won't be like old times." "Lily, don't be dramatic," she snapped, sweetness vanishing. "This is a huge opportunity for us." I took a deep breath. "Mom," I spoke to Dad. Her face froze. The smile, the brightness, everything stopped. "What?" she whispered. "Why was he fired?" I asked, voice firm now. "Why did you tell me he was a cheater when you were the one seeing Jason before he left? Why did you frame him? Why lie to me?" Her mask didn't just drop, it shattered. Her face went red, ugly and raw. "How dare you?" she shrieked, echoing across the room. "You ungrateful little brat. After everything I did for you, you're siding with that failure over me? I gave you everything." She stepped toward me, fingers shaking in my face. "This company, this house, it's mine. It was always supposed to be mine." "That's enough, Rebecca." Grandma Evelyn's voice was calm but struck my mother like a thunderclap. She had been watching silently from the doorway. Rebecca whirled around. "Tell her. Tell this ungrateful child what she owes me." Grandma walked steadily into the room, eyes locked on my mother. "The only thing she owes you, Rebecca, is nothing. Respect is earned. You discarded her. You don't get to reclaim her now that she's valuable." Stopping in front of them, Grandma added, "You are not welcome here. And regarding the company, my lawyers will contact you about your attempt to mortgage the core hotels." Jason's face went ghost white. "It's time for you to leave," Grandma said, her voice soft but more threatening than any scream. Mom just stood, frozen, her face a battlefield of rage, humiliation, and panic. Finally, a half growl, half sob escaped her, and she stormed out the door. Jason practically ran after her. The door slammed shut, and the silence that followed was more satisfying than I could describe. After that, Grandma was done giving chances. She hired a private investigator. A few weeks later, she called Dad and me into her office. A sharp, no-nonsense investigator sat there, a thick report on the table. "It's worse than we feared," Grandma said grimly. The investigator spoke clearly. Jason wasn't just reckless, he was a con artist. He had multiple identities across states, charming women with family wealth, convincing them to invest in international projects, then siphoning the money into offshore accounts. The European expansion Mom and Jason were excited about. A $7 million scam. "And your mother?" she said, looking at me. "She wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his accomplice." I felt sick. My grandmother's eyes, full of pain I had never seen before, met mine. It seemed inevitable. "Lily," armed with the evidence of Jason's criminal history and Rebecca's involvement in a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme, my dad moved fast. Michael filed immediately for full custody of Emma. I insisted on being in the courtroom. Watching it all unfold was intense. My mother, Rebecca, sat on the stand, performing the role of victim flawlessly. She cried, spinning a story of how Michael had abandoned the family, how he was unstable, how he never cared. Her lawyer painted him as a bitter, failed executive. Then it was our turn. Our lawyer didn't just prove my father's stability. He didn't just show the consistent support payments Rebecca had cashed. He introduced the private investigator's full report, calmly detailing Jason's aliases, his criminal history, and the multi-state fraud investigations. Bank records were presented, showing Rebecca's co-signing on the attempted hotel mortgages and Jason's wire transfers. I watched Rebecca's face. The tears she had been practicing dried up instantly. Her mask of innocence dissolved into pure rage. "This is absurd. Lies. He's poisoning you against me. He loves me," she screamed. But the judge's gavel banged down, unmoving, expression stoic. The truth, cold, documented, undeniable, was out. In under an hour, the judge awarded Michael full and immediate custody of Emma. He labeled Jason a predator and ordered criminal investigations into both him and Rebecca for conspiracy to commit fraud. Rebecca slumped in her chair, a woman realizing too late that all her lies had finally caught up. For a moment, I almost felt pity, almost. True to form, Jason disappeared the very next day, vanishing with every dollar of Rebecca's personal savings. The final judgments were swift. Rebecca, who had always seen herself as entitled to wealth, was now ordered to pay child support to Michael for Emma. The irony was sharp and undeniable. A few weeks later, Michael called. His voice was calm, though tired. "Hey, Lily. Just wanted to tell you, your mother showed up at my apartment today." My stomach tightened. "What did she want?" I asked. "She wanted to make up. She cried, admitted Jason tricked her, and said she wanted us to be a family again." He paused, disbelief clear in his voice. "I told her no. That ship didn't just sail, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. I will never put you or Emma through that again." I exhaled, relief washing over me. "Good," I said quietly. "Good for you, Dad." After we hung up, I sat in my room at Grandma Evelyn's house, staring at the blueprints for my final college project. I used to think family was unbreakable, defined by blood, something you couldn't escape. I was wrong. Real family isn't about DNA. It's about who will fight, bleed, and protect you. It's where you heal, not where you're broken. Sometimes, letting go of toxic blood is the only way to find yourself. Life slowly found a new rhythm. I graduated top of my architecture class. Michael took over as interim CEO of the hotel chain, finally running it with care and love. Emma moved in with him, and for the first time in years, she was a happy, carefree child. Every Sunday, we all gathered for dinner at Grandma Evelyn's. Last week, I brought my final project. I unrolled the blueprints on the big dining room table. "It's a completely sustainable hotel design," I said, my voice trembling with excitement. "Using everything I've learned." Grandma, Michael, and Emma leaned in. My dad studied the plans, a slow smile spreading. His eyes shone with pride, filling every broken piece of me. "This is the future, Lily," he said. I looked around the table, Grandma, Dad, Emma. This wasn't the family I had started with. It was smaller, fractured, rebuilt. But it was real. And it was mine.